Hello, and welcome to our Happy at Home session. It is April the 21st, and we are going to be talking all about frames. Let's frame it. Today, I am excited to do this because earlier this week, Sarah Scraps was teaching a class within our Scrap Happy membership called Scrap School, and she focused on frames and tags. And so she's inspired me a lot this week, and I'm like, perfect, let's dig into some of this inspiration. And one of the things that she did was talk about using frames in ways that we might not expect. So if you're here, let me know, do you struggle sometimes to use different frames that come in different packets or different kits? Are frames something that you seek out, or are you kind of looking at them like, oh, what am I going to do with that? Or are they leftovers in your kit at the end of your scrapbooking? So go ahead and let me know what happens to your frames. Do they end up in your stash instead of on your page? I'd love to hear what you think. Part of the reason that this made me really excited is because it's easy to think about frames in a very traditional sense. In fact, that's not the one. In fact, I had a frame layout that was sitting here, and I don't anymore. So we won't be looking at that. Whoops. I was just moving stuff. It's all good. So yeah, like when you're putting your photo inside the frame, putting it on your layout, that's kind of what makes the most sense to most of us. But the struggle is getting the photos to be the right size to fit in those frames. That's always a challenge. The frames will be different sizes. Sometimes the frames have some kind of decorative detail that covers over an important part of your picture. So, for example, like this frame here, can we convince it to be friendly? Let's do this. Let's bring this up here. So, for example, with this frame here, if I put certain photos in behind this, parts of the photo might be covered up by some of these embellishments. And so that can be really frustrating. And if you're not good at printing photos into custom sizes, like they're often designed to fit the standard sizes, but sometimes they're not. So this is a regular piece of paper, the regular photo size of 4x6, and you can see that this frame is designed to fit. Now, depending on what I had on this front, this happens to be a 3x4 photo. Like you could see, it could cover something important. In this case, I wanted to showcase what he's eating, and you could see, like, you would not see what he's eating. He's eating a baked Alaska, which was kind of cool. So this frame, even if it fit like a whole photo, wouldn't be a great choice. And if I go to this one, which would fit, you can see it's also covering up some of the action that I'm trying to convey. So putting your pictures into frames can be a little frustrating. When you learn how to print them in the sizes that fit, even then, like the photo itself might not work with the frame. So that's all I was trying to go with there. Danelle says frames are one of my least used embellishments. I get it. And so that's why we're going to talk a little bit about frames, and I'm going to put together some stuff with some frames today, and hopefully we can get some of the fun ideas and put them into action. So some of the ideas that Sarah shared, I'm going to put some of them into action today. Vicky says, yes. She says, hi, Alice. And yes, I do struggle. So welcome, Gina. Welcome, Diane. Welcome, everyone. This is super fun to talk about because a lot of kids get those supplies, and why, it's not fun having supplies that we can't even use. So I was just going to have a look inside a couple of ephemera kits here. I like this one is a old one that's been in my stash for a very long time. And I'll confess, using up all the little bits, it feels like a commitment sometimes. Now you'll see, obviously I liked something on this frame, but there's some of it left. There's a little bit of this one, and then there's a whole bunch of extra little pieces that just never made it onto a page. We've got another frame here, and then more little pieces. I don't know, like this must have another piece. Oh yes, like it's a pair of lips, I guess, like a little kissy face. But like that hasn't made it onto a page. I haven't needed a mascara wand on a page either. Like some kits are just like random bits that don't make it onto what I need. Okay, but we'll pop these back in. We're gonna grab those frames out of here. And we had a kind of little peek at what was in there, just in case there's something else that we end up needing. I wanted to show you guys these frames because these ones are kind of pre-done as shakers, which is one of the tips that Sarah shared. She said, sometimes you could just take these pre-made frames and turn them into a shaker, which becomes an embellishment on your page. And I was like, that is brilliant. These ones are already done, so I didn't have to do any of the work. But turning a frame into a shaker is super easy. All you need is some foam tape and some acetate. And honestly, if you don't have acetate, find some good packaging material, like maybe this little piece of packaging material, and there you go. You've got some acetate, and you're reusing, right? We're repurposing our stuff rather than just putting it in the trash or recycle. It's better to reuse it, right? So yeah, these are great, like little pre-made frames, but you can see that even they haven't made it onto a page yet. Oh, and some of them are leaking. There's glitter in there. I'm a little scared. Here's another packet that I have of embellishments. And these ones are from Photoplay. And I believe, oh, look here. I looked on the back and I was like, oh, that's good. There's some frames in here. Look at me. I actually used all my frames like from this whole pack because there was a bunch of frames in here, and it looks like I actually used them, so that's good. Just means that we won't get to play with these ones today. And then, well, let's put them over here. And then we've got a pack, and these ones have just like, there was one good size frame in here, and it's a kind of a thinner chipboard. So I brought out a few to play with, and then one of the greatest things is if you need frames, you can obviously make them. So on my desk, just off of the screen here, is my Gemini machine. So we have some dies. So I thought I'd share those first, and then we can dive into the action. And I'll show you some of the things that I could use to make some frames. Now, this one I haven't even got to open yet, so you can see there's a big like selfie type frame in here. This one has the little pre-made frames. This one's from Lawn Fawn, and these ones have little stitch detailing, so they're pretty cute. These ones aren't specifically frames, but if you layer the two pieces and cut them together, you can, easily pop out little frames with the cute, what do they even call this? Labels? They're calling them labels. Sure. We'll go with that. Similar thing for this one here. Like if you wanted to make frames, you could do that with the two different pieces at the same time. Actually, these ones are kind of wide enough that no, they're just going to have details around the side. So we've got these ones where you'd have to cut the centers out of them. I did bring these kind of film strip kind of frames, which I thought, that's a pretty common embellishment that we're seeing in a lot of kits right now. So if you like the film strip look, then it might be worth picking up a film strip set of dies so that you can cut them. You can cut them obviously in black, but you could cut them into any other kind of ones that fit with your paper collections that you're working with. This collection here has two little frames and a little film strip piece, so it's kind of good in that way. Although the frames do have other embellishments kind of built into them, which is why I allowed myself to get this one. Because, oh, and I love arrows. Love arrows. So, what do you say? Should we dig into what we can do with these frames and see what we can make out of it? So, first things first, we need a piece of paper. I've got some 12 by 12 paper. This is just regular flat cardstock from Close to My Heart. And actually, I was looking at some of it. Oh, this one isn't the piece. I had one piece. Maybe I'll pull out that one. Because this one has slightly damaged edges, and I think that's actually not going to be a problem when we use this technique with this one for today. Yeah, Diane says, I'm actually using frames more often. I've made shakers out of them also, and they work great as a base for your clusters. Yay! Like, totally great as a base for clusters. When you have a photo... Do I have just a regular photo on my desk? Apparently no, but I have a double photo. How about that? If you have your photo and then you can slide a little base in and then build your embellishment cluster on that, such a smart idea. So let's do check. What a good idea for that one, right? So thank you, Diane, for sharing that. Okay, now on to Sarah's idea about using the frames. One of the ideas that she shared was to take your frames and line them up along the bottom or top of your page, or bottom and top of your page, and create a little border that goes along the top and along the bottom. And then amongst the little frame pieces, you might decide that you want to put some extra embellishments or something in there, but it creates a nice strip along the top and bottom. And I thought, that's a really great idea, and I really liked it. So I thought we would start with that for today. Now, of course, a lot of frames are just a simple square with a hole with a square cut out of them. And one of the great things about that means we can cut as many of those as we want easily with our trimmer. So if I don't want to spend time using a die cut machine, or I don't have enough, or I don't have the ones in the right colors that I want, it's super easy just to make our own little frames. So I think we'll do some of that too. Oh yes, I forgot to show these ones. So this is a kit that I had from my scrap room kit from this month, which is super nice. So if you have the April scrap room kit, then you probably got half a pack of these little frames. And these are actually really nice for layering in and making those kind of little embellishment edging. So super fun. Oh, and then there was another paper one here too. Excellent. Okay, these papers are gorgeous. We're not going to chop those ones up, but let's see. I better grab another paper. Some papers that we can chop up to go with this. It's always hard to chop up paper because I just love it all. I've got this just sitting on my desk and I haven't done anything with it yet. So, should we just use it? We should just use it, right? Stop hoarding the good stuff. So this purple here, I think it kind of goes with this collection. It's not as bright. We'll see. And then this blue kind of works perfect. I think the polka dot could have been in this collection. It's totally not. But I think those are all going to go just fine. So if I cut a few more pieces out from this paper, let's start with this one because I think that's going to make really cute frames. Then let's make a couple more frames for here. So we're just going to do like simple with a page trimmer or like a paper trimmer and make some frames. So hello, everybody's here. And Vicky says, now I do use film strips. Yay. That's good. So this one here is a pretty nice size. And it's a 4x4 square. This one here is a little narrower. It's about 3.5, and then it's about 4.5 long. And I like that some are thick and some are thin. So let's cut a piece off that is 4.5. that was our big dimension. And then I'm gonna cut this one. This one was narrower, right? So it was about 3.5. Just to give me some base sizes. The way I'm going to use them is I'll be cutting off pieces for the top and the bottom. And so I don't really need to make it look like a Instagram or a Polaroid photo. So I'm just going to do a constant edge. So all I do for this is put it like a certain distance away from the edge, and I do my slices. If you worry about the one side and then you do the opposite side first for the same, and as long as you've gone far enough, if you go a little too far, it doesn't matter. And then I just pop them in here, and then you're just connecting those little, the cuts that you made before. And now that will just pop right out of there. Super fast, super easy. And in fact, I can turn this one into a little frame too. Now, wasn't that fast? That was good, right? that was a good little cheat for that, right? So we're gonna do another one and make it just a little smaller, and we might use either side of this. I'm not really sure which side we'll use, because the other side was a really nice yellow. And let's pop this, and you can see I'm not being overly precious with it, but I've got perfect little frames at the end. Now, if you look closely, have I cut a little too far here? Sure. But does that matter? No, because you're not going to even see that at all. Now, I've got two that are multicolored, or I've got a lovely one with the yellow and the stars. And of course, there's more pieces here. So let's have a look at what this could look like across the bottom of our page. And yeah, don't forget, like if it's a rectangle, it can be different directions. They can be different heights. Okay, I think that's pretty good, but I think if we had a few more little pieces, actually, I think that might be pretty good. What do you think? And then we can maybe fill with some embellishments. Is that purple bright enough? Does it feel bright enough now that we have all this color? I guess that's my big question. What if I take the yellow and mix that up instead? And then we're bringing the dots over here. I think that's better. I think that's better. Okay, I think that's good. So we've made like a nice little display across the bottom, and I'm just gonna start sticking them on and then trimming off the edges once I've got them stuck on. So what do I have kind of down on the bottom? I've got this blue one kind of on the bottom layer. And actually I put this yellow underneath, but I got the purple even underneath that. So, and if I do these thick enough, like you can see here, like I've got them thicker. I'm not too worried if I go over the edges, because I'm going to be taking, I'm going to be using the other part. So I'm going to be using the sticky stuff right away. Okay, so I did this one over, and this one under, so that I'm kind of threading them through so they all feel like very interlaced. And then we've got this one, and we'll have this one just across the top. Cool. Is that one kind of straightish? Good. We'll put those ones there. So, question, what is on your desk today? Did you pull out some frames so that you can play with frames too? Is that something where you heard me talk about frames yesterday? I'm like, okay then, Alice, show me what you got. Give me your best stuff. I really feel like we need just a little more in this corner. right? A little something. Okay, so let's cut just one more frame. Let's use this paper. I kind of want the purple in there, but I'm going to want purple at the top. What do I get? Ooh, this one here. Okay, this one here has purple, and this. I love this paper so much. Like, so gorgeous. So let's cut one more. Danielle says, I'm impressed with your trimmer skills. Girl, that's your best friend as a scrapbooker. You gotta, like, get to know our best friend. So I'm gonna cut this one just as a 4x4 first. And then we're gonna just trim it in to make another frame. Turn it all the way around so we can do both of those edges first. And then the other ones are just gonna meet the lines, right? As long as we've cut them far enough, it will all be all separate for us nicely. Okay, so there's a quick little frame in this nice shade of purple, which I think brings that other purple because you can see the lighter colors, and that'll bring it all together. Yes. And then we also have a nice pattern, but it's very muted and subdued, so we're not going to go with another muted one. I'm going to put this right underneath. So we just got to do like the little bits of the edge here. Okay. There we go. Oh, that one's not stuck. That might be important. And then from here, we're going to take, I did like a lot of extra adhesive that I probably didn't need on here yet. So from here, we're going to take the pieces and cut them off, which will be super simple. Because we'll just use our, we'll do our paper trimmer for the long edge, but for the short edges, I'm just going to use some scissors. So, and I'm just going to trim right here, right along the edge. I'm going to cut this one off right here. And you could do that obviously for all of them, but you'll notice that I'm only going to cut like right beside the thing and leave as much of that frame intact as possible, because we're going to use that, and I'll show you how that'll work across the top. Now let's put this in here. These ones are a little bit in the way, but they'll be fine. Okay. Oh, no, this one's actually not going to be fine. This one's going to be a pain in my bum. Okay, we'll pull it off for a second. Okay, now we're just going to run the trimmer along here. Oh, and do I have a shreddy blade in here? That happens. I don't know what that's like. So now I've got all my little pieces. We'll put this one back on here. So that might have almost been easier to do just with my scissors and not have to fiddle around, right? Sometimes the shortcuts aren't shorter. Reminder to self. Okay. Good. So now we've got all the pieces. I've got this cute little border along this edge of the paper. And we're going to flip it over and do the same thing. Now we can use a lot of these leftover pieces, and if they're not quite right, then we'll just like edit them to make them right. So we've got this nice purple piece, and you can see how you can get like a lot of distance. So maybe that one will reach in like this. We can have some bigger dots. We can have some yellow. We can get some of this purple in here. This little blue one, I don't have very much of it. So we'll see if I can even get like a tiny little bit. We'll make them into a frame to get that, just to get that little bit of teal on it. So it'll like echo the color from up top. Maybe I can do it on this side. Right. Just to bring that little bit of color back down to the bottom. And then don't forget we got the rainbow one. Okay, little piece and a nice yellow. Now this one does feel way thick, so I'm gonna cut this one a little bit skinnier. And here we're just gonna run it up so that the side of my blade, so that way you know that it's lined up right. And then we'll just make it skinnier. Pull that little piece right out of there. And I didn't cut it quite enough, so we'll just touch up that corner. There we go. Okay. Good. Ooh, stick. Okay, I'm gonna stick these little pieces on first. Because I know where those ones are gonna go. And we'll get everything all lined up and it'll be all good. There's a little tiny, like little hint of gold on there, and I'm just gonna snip that off right now. Good. And that can be bigger. And like you can see here, like I'm wanting this to be a little bit taller. And so I'm actually going to take this little piece off and splice it underneath one of the other frames. So we'll never know, right? But now you know. There we go. Lynette says, sigh. Frames do not feel the love in my scrap room. They are poor, underused babies. I totally get it. So we're going to stick this purple one first, and then we'll splice this one over the top of it. So let's get this one on here. And like that. And we're just going to have a little piece. Honestly, even if I didn't splice something right over top of that seam, you'll never see it. It's like, it's crazy. Okay. But we will splice it just over top. Right like that. Okay, let's get this one stuck. So I think this is going to be adorable. I'm not going to finish the rest of the layout here today, right? We're just going to put this together and it's going to go into my stash of page bases that I'll be using next month during the load challenge when we're scrapbooking about the Muppets. And I'm pretty sure like there will be something. Okay, if there's not something about frames, I'm like pre-ready for any prompt that's about frames. I can't off the top of my head think if there is one about frames, but I'm like, ooh, that would have been good. That might be just perfect right now, is to have a prompt about frames. But okay, we're gonna pop this little yellow one in here. I think I might tuck that underneath right there. Yeah, kind of just integrate them so they're all kind of linking together. And I'm definitely gonna need another little piece for this other side, so we'll cut something to kind of fit on this other side. Okay, let's get this purple one on here. And it's gonna have to be that deep because that's how big my edge is. And I need something that's definitely bigger. So we got, that can be like that. But I definitely need something more for this corner. So I can take another little piece of this one and cut a little bit more frame there. I wouldn't mind a piece being taller in here. So maybe I'll just cut a whole extra like frame for in here. A little bit more of that yellow wouldn't hurt over there either. So, okay, let's make a frame. What do I actually want it to look like? To like this? Or like that? Okay, like that. So I'll do like that. Okay. So, hello, Alice. Hello, Evelyn. She says, hello, Alice. It's so nice to have you joining us. I've been so inspired by this frames class. I'm excited that we're doing this today and getting a little bit of love for the frames and getting them out of my stash and onto my pages. And I think this is just a good way to, I've used some that were from a kit. I've added some just with some pattern paper. So all together, like, it's pretty good. Oh, so cute. Okay. And do I want this or do I want yellow? I think yellow would stand out better here, right? So that's on the back of this. Not tall enough. Ooh, but tall enough this way. Great. Great. Okay. So pop that on. And crossing. No, we're gonna do it like that. Good. Oh, there's a little bit of adhesive right there. That's definitely a possibility when you're when you're going at the stuff the way I am. Just like quickly get it on so that people get the idea of it, right? All good. This adhesive rolls just right off pretty quickly. Like if you play with it, if you have like a little adhesive eraser, you could use that, but like don't even need it. So this one doesn't feel straight. I feel like I'm missing something here, and it feels like a weirdly naked spot. I'm wondering if this frame shouldn't be up taller. Cool, let's do that. Once this adhesive is permanently attached, it will be good and it will be stuck, but for right now, it's good. Okay, do I have a lot more going on the bottom? It looks like it right now, which means I might need to add like more embellishments or something at the top, but I think it'll be fine. Okay. So, did I learn my lesson? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I should just be using, because I didn't stick them all down very well right to the edge, I better go in and use my scissors. Okay. So, question, is there a scrapbook supply, maybe other than frames, because we're talking about frames, but like let's talk about some other stuff that you buy but don't use? Like, I buy a lot of pattern paper, but I also love my pattern paper and I use it quite consistently, so I don't ever feel bad about that. But is there a supply that you buy and don't use? I can think of one off the top of my head for myself. So yeah, this feels like it just needs a little something right here, right? Like it's just missing a little something, right? Not yellow. Can we try a little bit more of this one? Sure, let's put a little bit more of that one in there. So. And I'm actually going to just run this one right up there, all the way from the top, or all the way from the bottom, because it's going to allow me to have it just a little longer. See, that'll be perfect. And I'll tuck this one underneath this little part that's sticking down. But there we go. And you can see, like, that was a quick little adjustment to do, like, where I'm like, ooh, it just needs a little something right there. And yeah, get that in. Once you kind of analyze what it looks like and what you like. Okay. What do you think, you guys? It's looking okay. Gotta cut this little piece. I think it's looking pretty cute. I've got lots of fun colors. I know that I've got like other papers if I wanted to create a mat. If I wanted right now, I could like create a mat for this page. This is not a common photo size that I would use, but it would give me some room for titles and some journaling actually. So I'm just gonna tuck this on here, and I can decide after when I do the layout, but I'll have it available to me right there. Okay, so that one is what I'm gonna call finished. I'm gonna take the leftover pieces, I'll keep those. These little bits, I'm not gonna keep the little tiny bits, but the rest of the pieces are good. So there we go. I have a base page ready to go. And do I make a lot of base pages? I would say no, except I don't make a lot of base pages for myself, except when I'm doing like creative techniques. And then I don't really necessarily worry about how I'm going to scrapbook it in that moment, because I know that when I'm doing a load, I can pull out those base pages, especially if I have a load coming up, like in, what is it? What are we, like 11 days? Oh, no, 9 days. Are we 9 days away from our load challenge starting? Oh my gosh. Yeah, and we're going to be scrapbooking all month inspired by the Muppets. So I am pretty pumped about that. May 1st to 31st, every single day we'll be scrapbooking, and each day we'll be talking about a prompt. We'll have a topic that is related to the Muppets, like, for example, like Big Bird or something. And we will be scrapbooking something inspired by Big Bird using both a story and a technique prompt. So lots of fun. If you want to come join us, it's at scraphappy.org/load. And if you're a Scrap Happy member, it's included in your membership, so you're good to go. Okay, so that is one little thing we can do with frames. We also talked about shakers. And where is my note paper? Oh, I moved things around, didn't I? Sure did. There we go. Here's my notes. And so I thought that the little stack of frames was a great idea. And another idea that Sarah shared that was quite simple for using frames was the one where she took a paper and she took a photo. Now, I don't specifically have a photo to use here, so we're gonna just use this one as a sample photo. And then she used extra frames on the side, so she made like a strip across the center of the page using that photo and then some frames. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's just cut this one down and we'll use that one as a sample. Oh, that's fun. And so she took frames like these ones. These ones are really big though, so they're not gonna fit. These one, that's also really big. So how about if we cut some with my machine, because I just don't have a lot of frames here, partially because I'm so bad at using them. So I'll just put those ones aside and we'll cut some frames so that we can kind of create this little section in the middle. I'll probably even create a frame for the photo that will be front and center. And so this photo here is 3x4, so I'll kind of design this layout to fit like 3x4-ish kind of things. So let's grab some frames and we'll cut them. Circles wouldn't be the greatest for this, but I think I could use these ones and make that work quite well. So these create frames are just squares. I think since these ones just create squares, right, or rectangles, this would be frames. They're kind of big. And would a 3x4 fit in the middle? No. I would have to make sure I custom wrote down the size that I would need for this one. So I don't really want to do that. So I think we'll go with these and we'll just cut the centers out. Okay, so let me know what is on your crafty desk today. Do you have a project that you're working on? Do you have a cleanup project in gear? Because like, something I need to have in gear, but I don't. So definitely something I could use. Oh my gosh, this, you guys, this thing is so warped. I have like really warped it. I really need to like get a new one, but we haven't done that yet. So I'm going to use 2 of these so that I can do double, right? So I can do double. And when I put this on top, it will cut through. So my paper will cover up on top of it. Now the magnet kind of holds it in place, but you know, I don't want it to wiggle around and then I have really wonky looking frames. So I will take some of my adhesive here and we're just going to stick them down so that they're not moving around. And going in the corner would obviously be great, but like this is so warped. If I try to even do that, it's not sticking very good to this. It's supposed to be the kind of tape that you need. Okay, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna keep going with this gorgeous paper from Vicky Booten, and I'm gonna do a couple of solid color ones because I like adding all my color. We'll keep the frame solid so that they each will be easier when I work in the rest of the colors. So note to self, you got to have those A sides to make it work. So I'm going to cut this. The frame itself, the large frame, is about a 5 by 3 3/4 or something. So I'm going to cut like at least 6 by 4 so that it will overlap here of each of these papers. Now, can I cheat and do them all at the same time? Maybe. I guess we'll find out. And then I'll take this out and flip them this way, and we've got, as long as they all stay together, and we'll cut that to 4, and we have those done. And we'll pop these in here. Now, I think that all 3 will cut through the machine at the same time. We'll give it a shot. If I mess it up, it's paper and we'll fix it. Right? If I mess it up, it can happen. Now, is there like a difference in how I put these on here? Probably. And I'm just going to take a little bit more tape. It's like, stay right here. This is where I want you to stay. Now we'll put the other piece on top and feed it through. So anybody that like doesn't like repetitive motions, like you might need if you have like a die cut machine where you have to spin the thing, these electronic ones just kind of do all that work for you. It's complaining a little. And just like all the rest, they make the whiny, complainy noises. But let's have a look at what we've got here. So we have the center's punching right out. So we've got the center pieces that have punched right out. And we have these pieces, which are also punching right out. So everything cut really nice. And I now have my 3 frames for going on right across the center. So I'll put that one in the center, and I'll just pull the leftover tape bits off of there. And now that's nice and cleaned up. Put away. So it doesn't have to take a long time to make the frames. It can be quite simple and quick. Like if you're a great cutter, that's good. If you want extra special details, that's what this did, right? This gave me frames that have a little harder to see on this one, but easier here. You can see the little stitch detail around the edge. So that's kind of nice. So, oh, missed one of the frames. Don't do that. Be looking at it later saying which set does that go with. So now I've got the 3 frames and I'll have those lined up in the center, and this one is almost the right size to fit this photo, but not quite. So I'm gonna have to either consider if I want to when I print my photo, I'm gonna have to give myself notes for that. So I'll just take a sticky note. And where are my sticky notes? And put a note on here. Make a 3x4 photo that has a full edge, right? It's 4 inches on the inside. So I'll need a full edge photo rather than one with the white lines. But that's okay. So now I've got my 3 photos lined up. I'll probably have a little strip of color, maybe some little details at the top or the bottom, but having a nice title across the top, I think that's pretty cute. What do you think? I think that'll work really good with my page. Now in here, journaling, right? Probably fill this one with journaling, maybe fill this one with like a little quote or a saying or something, and then it's super done. So another thing to use your frames for, quotes, titles. You can overlay titles. You can take one of your frames and just kind of do like a little cluster within there. So similar to what was it Diane that had said before, that she makes the frames into shakers or as a base for a cluster, right? So, and if I didn't want to do like this 3 across, like just look at how cute of a layout this makes once you take your picture and go like this too. Just a different way to kind of create spaces on your page. So very cute. Well, that's what we were doing here today. Let me bring this back. So what do you think? Do you have a few new ideas for using frames, making frames, and actually getting them onto your pages? I didn't make a shaker today, so that's something that I think would be really fun. We'll see if that happens on Monday. Potentially we could do a shaker. They're super fast, so that's something easy to do. Yeah, otherwise I'm thinking of something a little more fun. Maybe we'll get a little more mucky again on Monday for our happy at home session. I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you're like, ooh, so I can use frames to frame photos. I can use frames for my titles, for my journaling. I can line up all my frames. I can use frames and break them up using them for embellishments. I can add them as a base for an embellishment cluster. So many fun ideas for using frames. And Sarah actually had even a few more within our Scrap School class. So be sure as a Scrap Happy member to catch the replay for that. Okay, that is everything for today. I hope you had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun, and I'm excited because I've got some good base pages now to do some scrapping, which is awesome. Okay, I will see you again on Monday for Happy at Home, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget that Monday, I think Monday's the 24th, right? Monday is the last day to get the load discount. It's automatically applied in the cart right now, $15 off if you're not a Scrap Happy member and want to join us for the load challenge. And otherwise, you can find that all at scraphappy.org/load. And lots of fun. If you're not sure about the load challenge and what that is, check out the Happy at Home from the 14th here that we did this month, last Friday. And that one, I showed all of my pages that I made during the February load challenge. Now the topic's totally different, the prompts will be totally different, but it'll give you an idea of just how much fun you can have during one of those challenges. Okay, thank you everyone for spending this time. Lynn says, have a good weekend. Thanks, Danelle. What brand is your adhesive, asked Donna? Okay, quick, let's get this in. This one is just a Tombow mono adhesive. Sorry, there you go. Tombow mono adhesive. They are refillable. Like you get like a whole piece like this. You don't really have to mess around. You just pop it into the little base, so you can get refills that fit into those little base really easily, and they're quick and easy to use. So I like them, especially on like thin pieces when you're working with the little frames. Like anything that kind of goes over the edge just kind of disappears almost. Like it's pretty easy to work with. So that's a good one. Okay, well, that's it. Have a great weekend and happy scrapping, everyone. Bye.